Dr. Scott McFarland is with us here today. He is the medical director of the emergency room at Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center. Thank you so much for joining us.
Delighted to be here.
These designer drugs, like we talked about, like Flakka and like bath salts, they've been around for a number of years now, but we're hearing more and more about them these days. Why is that?
I think because people are looking for a richer, more bizarre experience. You know, they've gone through Flakka. Heroin has become an epidemic. Heroin is, frankly, a holocaust. I mean, it's actually literally abducting our children and killing them. We're losing a generation to heroin.
What makes these drugs so dangerous?
Well, because if you could imagine LSD and its hallucinogenic effects, who knows what sort of phantasmagoric images you see with LSD.
Right.
Add that to crack. So it's like an acid-crack combination. So you got superhuman strength, but actually no clue as to what you're doing with it.
Is there any medicinal value to any of these drugs?
None. That's why they call them designer drugs. They're
Right.
designed to mess you up.
Right. Well, you talked about LSD. When I was a kid, you heard a lot about LSD, heroin, cocaine. So are those tame compared to what's out there now?
Absolutely, because now they're mixed with something.
That's scary.
Now they're mixed with a high-voltage stimulant.
What are the names of some of these designer drugs?
Honestly, the real drug is called dibutylene.
Okay.
But the rest of them are also phenylethylamine.
Right.
They're all congeners that appear either similar to a normal neurotransmitter like noradrenaline,
Right.
or something that prevents the release or increases the uptake of the neurotransmitter.
And they have all kinds of trendy names and everything else. What causes such weird behavior in people who take these drugs?
Because they have no psychomotor control. I mean, part of it is this it releases kind of an inner rage over which it's kind of like a steroid kind of effect.
But I mean, the superhuman strength, if you weigh 125 pounds, I mean, you know, how do you develop these powers?
It's there. Remember the mothers that can lift a Volkswagen
Right.
off the child?
True,
It depends upon the stimulation.
What advice would you have for parents who need to and want to talk to their kids about the dangers of these drugs without sounding like you're some old fogey?
You know, honestly, I've examined and talked to so many kids, particularly girls, that are drug addicts, that are drug overdoses. Every one of them has been hurt. At some point, I had a 14-year-old said, something must have happened to you. And she said, yeah, I was raped, but I can't. And I said, did you tell anybody? She said, no, they'll think that I'm a whore. And so they have these inner secrets, this inner pain that no drug can mollify. So don't talk to your kids, listen to them. Say, what's going on with you? What is really happening with you? And and then examine their friends, their cohorts, because it's their friends that are going to dictate their future.
All right, good advice. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for joining us today. Dr. Scott McFarland from Gardens Medical Center.